We've got 3 first-time builds. We've got a build that belongs in 2019. We've got a build that spends way too much on all the wrong components. Buckle up, this is gonna be crazy. Hi, welcome back to PC Builder. I'm Jason. Now this is Boost My Build, the series where you submit your PC part picker list, we tear them up, and we put them back together and massively boost your performance. Remember, if you get value in the video, give it a like. It makes a big difference to the channel, especially this guy right here. And of course, subscribe and click the bell icon. That way you get notified when we release cool content. With that, let's jump into it. Before that, this video is sponsored by Micro Center, my favorite tech place on earth. If you've never been to a Micro Center, you are missing out on the coolest place for PC builders to get the best deals on the latest tech. Our video editing PC died recently, so I ran over to my local Micro Center where the friendly staff helped me find everything I needed. A top-of-the-line X570 motherboard, Ryzen 5950X, awesome Lian Li case, and more for a great price. Whether you're building a new PC, buying a pre-built laptop or TV, or just want to hang out in the coolest tech place on earth, check out your local Micro Center and use the code in the video description to get an incredible $50 off select Intel 12th Gen or Ryzen 5000 CPUs. All right, Kalen Rains, Jason, I'm looking to build my first real gaming PC. All right. Their budget's $2,500 to $2,800 USD. They mostly want to play simulation games like Microsoft Flight Sim 2020, and they want to play it smoothly at 1440p. Good news, Microsoft actually fixed that game over the summer, almost doubled frame rates on it. They are set with this Corsair case. They live in Alaska. Things are hard to get shipped there, but they want advice on the rest of the components. Let's see what you've got. Oh my goodness, let's start off with the craziness, right? You're already over your budget, $2,916.91, and you have a budget of $2,800. That means you're already over budget by $116. And I can see why, like, almost immediately. Remember, you said you're just gaming. You didn't say you're gonna do Blender workloads. You didn't say you're gonna do video editing. So when I immediately see a motherboard like an X570 Tomahawk for a ridiculous price, $266. Remember, the MSRP of this board is only $200. Now in the US, it is almost never sold for that MSRP, mostly because, again, this is this mind share thing where people just buy products because they've been marketed. Now the MAG B450 Tomahawk was a great motherboard, but it was a mid-tier motherboard. It wasn't anything that special. It just had phenomenal VRMs in, so everybody recommended it. But now it's like burned into everybody's brain that anything with Tomahawk on it automatically has to be good. That is not necessarily the case. This is not a bad motherboard, but the price is terrible for this board, and I wouldn't buy it. I do know in other markets, like in Europe and other places, it does sell around its MSRP, and it's probably a good value for that MSRP. We're also going with a crazy big CPU here, Ryzen 5900X. This is not a gaming CPU that you need if you're just gaming. This is absolutely insane. $500 for this CPU. And I can see we've also paired additional cooling for it with a 360mm, very expensive Corsair iQ H150i Elite Capitalix. Great performing unit, it looks phenomenal, but at $180, this is just, we're spending way too much in all the wrong places. We've got, Corsair Vengeance, 32 gigabytes, 2x16 kit. This is fine, 3600 CL18. It's not really any faster than 3200 CL16, by the way, which you probably get a lot cheaper. Or you probably, for not that much more money, you can go up to 3600 CL16 instead. For the drives, we have a pair of Samsung 970 EVO. I actually like these drives if you need the speed, and you definitely haven't given me indication that you need anything other than a budget gaming PC drive. Again, we're trying to squeeze performance out of it. We're spending money in areas we're just not getting performance out of. Then for about $1,350, you've got the MSI Radeon RX 6800 XT. This is a good graphics card, but honestly, if you're gonna spend this much already, the 6900 XT is not that much more. I think it's like $50 or $60 more at Newegg right now. That's something I would consider before plunking down $1,350. Can I spend just a teeny weeny bit more money and get more performance? Now I can see why you maybe didn't, because you're already over budget, because we're overspending in other areas. This is the case you want. It's a Corsair 5000D Airflow. Hey, it's a great case. Right now, Newegg has it on an amazing deal. It's $120. At $164 at Amazon, I might say, you know what, let's find you a different case. But given it's only $120, if you can get it at that price, I would say go for it. Otherwise, look at the Corsair 4000D. It's this very similar case, just a couple features sliced off here and there. It doesn't have a fan controller, I think, built into it. But overall, very, very good case for about $95 instead of $120 or $165 on its normal price. I think this is a great unit. Corsair RMX 2021, 850 watt, 80 plus gold, PSU. Do we need 850 watts? As you have it spec'd out now, we probably do, but I think we can fix that. $134. Again, this is where just overspending on some core components might drive up the cost. I think we can do better. Overall, I can just see massive overspending in all kinds of areas that aren't getting us any additional performance. They're not getting us closer to our goal of playing games at high frame rates. So let's see what we can do with this. So here's the build that I came up with. I called it the way better gaming for less money build. Why? Because it's way better gaming for less money. We're gonna only spend $2,773. And check this out, we're gonna get significantly more performance than you did. Let's just jump straight to the graphics card because this is really where we wanna spend most of our money on gaming PCs. And we're able to go with something like the Sapphire Radeon RX 6900 XT. This is a phenomenal graphics card. Sapphire makes some of the best in terms of the AMD side on the cards. Honestly, $1,500, and they actually have a number of units. If this one isn't on sale when you go to buy it, there's a number of other 6900 XTs for around $1,450 to about $1,550. I would just go ahead and invest the extra $100 and get the 6900 XT. It's just a significantly better graphics card. How are we going to be able to afford this? And in fact, we're going to come in $200 under the cost that you were doing. Well, we're going to right size this build. We went with the Ryzen 7 5800X. And this is a phenomenal gaming CPU. You don't need the 5900X. It isn't going to get you any additional gaming performance over the 5800X. So why go for anything more than that? Especially when this one is, $150 less. So this is a $345 CPU. So we were also able to come down on the cooling for this. The Corsair iCUE H100i. Now, frankly, this would have been enough for the 5900X. So we are saving $70 here by just going with a 240 millimeter unit instead. Now, these coolers are more expensive than some of the budget coolers that I might look at if you needed to save even more money, but I don't mind spending a little bit more on a premium cooler with premium ARGB and nice features on it. I know you like MSI motherboards, so I went ahead and right-sized this thing. Remember, B550. If you're gaming, I want you to scrub out X570 from your memory banks. You should not be buying an X570 motherboard unless it's some stupidly great deal. I went with the MSI B550 Gaming Edge Wi-Fi. Really all the same features that the Tomahawk has for only $190. It's almost $100 less. For the memory, what we did here, I actually spent about $10 more overall than you spent, but instead of 3600 CL18 memory, I got you 3600 CL18 memory, and I went 4x8 gigabytes, which is gonna guarantee that you're gonna get dual rank memory. Now, I believe those G.Skill Ripjaw kits, the 2x16 kits you had, are Samsung B-Dies, which should be dual rank, but this is going to guarantee it. Going 4x8 is definitely going to guarantee it, and it's not going to cost that much more money. It's only going to cost about $10 over what you had, and you're going to get all 4 DIMM slots populated. The PC is going to look a lot better, same amount of memory. You don't need 32 gigabytes for gaming. We could have just gone with a single kit here. So if you are looking to save some money, I just slash out one of these kits and go with 16 gigs instead. For the storage, you had 2 1 terabyte drives that you were spending $109 each. I just went ahead and grabbed you a single Samsung 970 EVO Plus. That's a 2 terabyte drive that's actually less money. It's $10 less. So actually $20 less, excuse me. It's gonna have better performance. Yes, you can run the other ones in a RAID 0 configuration if you wanted to, but again, you're just gaming. There's absolutely no reason for you to do that. We of course stuck with your same case, Corsair 5000D, $120, good price. I went with the Enermax Revolution DF 850 watt, 80 plus gold certified unit. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, that's gold certified. I want something higher. This is absolutely fine. Forget the 80 plus certification. It's about where it ranks on the PSU Cultist tier list. That's going to tell you the build quality, the protections in it. And this is an A tier, amazing power supply, fully modular. Just overall, absolutely great unit. And of course, we're gonna get it for $110, much, much better. Now, of course, you were missing a lot of case fans in your Corsair 5000D. So what I went ahead and did, I got you one expensive Corsair iCUE fan, so it's gonna match the cooler. I want you to use this one in the rear exhaust, so that way all 3 fans on the interior and top right there look the same, it'll look awesome. And then I went ahead and got you a 3-pack of up here, 120 millimeter ARGB fans. I got this for two reasons. One is the fans perform pretty well, they look really nice, and when they're on the intake side, you're not going to see them all together. No one's going to notice that there's very, very slight differences between them. The other thing is that they come with this really nice controller that I've actually used in other builds. You can buy just a controller for $17. So for only $10 more, you get actually 3 ARGB fans with the controller. So for $2,773, we've gotten a massive amount of performance out of this thing. We've come down on the CPU where it wasn't helping us, and we've increased the memory up to 3600 CL16, and we've gotten you dual rank, got you the Radeon 6900 XT. This thing is going to smoke any game on the market right now, and we've done that for a price of $2,773, $150 less than you were going to spend. Macapaka, love the name by the way. This is their first build, and they want to maintain 60 FPS, 1080p, medium to high settings in games like Valorant. Shouldn't be that hard. You can really run Valorant on a toaster, to be quite honest. This is supposed to be a budget build. Yes, $1,000 I would call a budget build right now in 2022. They're using the Ryzen stock cooler, and they're using 3D included fans. Let's see what you've got so far. I feel like we jumped in a time warp back to like 2019 because I'm seeing parts here that I would definitely not recommend. And I can see already that we are $124 over your budget. You're at $1,124.98. And I know how this happens. You've probably been looking at old build guides from like 2019, maybe even early 2020. You're gonna buy a Ryzen 5 3600, and these prices are the ones you put in, by the way. These are not just pulling prices in for $319. Look, the Ryzen 5 3600 in its day was an amazing gaming CPU, but the reality is that they're not really producing them anymore. I can actually see right now, it's at retail, it's only going for $260. I say only going for $260. I would not buy it for that. There's better CPUs that you can buy instead. The Ryzen 3600 is not being produced either at all or in any kind of real quantities. That's why the price is shot way up. It's past its prime. Unless maybe you get one used for a super good deal, I would definitely not go for a Ryzen 5 3600. I would look at a 5600G before the 3600. 5600G will outperform it. We went with the MSI B550M Pro VDH Wi-Fi. I mean, look, this is a fine board. I often knock this board, say it looks like it came out of a Radio Shack, but it is actually very good in terms of the VRMs. It's got Wi-Fi. It's got a good price point on it. I probably should knock it as much as I do for the looks, but honestly, $120, we can do better than that. You're gonna get it for $130. Don't do that. That board you should be buying for $100, really no more. Then we're gonna go with Corsair Vengeance, 2x8 gigabytes, 3200 CL16 memory for $104. That's a massive overspend if that's what you're buying those memory sticks for. So don't do that. We'll help you out there. You're also going with an SSD, the Sabrent Rocket 512 gigabyte. This is an okay-ish drive. I see here it's $58 though, but you've put $100. I would definitely not buy a 500 gigabyte drive for $100 right now. That's insane. And then you're going with a GTX 1650, just a regular 1650, not even a super. This is not a graphics card you want to be buying new. They are massively overpriced, and the performance is absolutely terrible. Get a used RX 570 for about $200. That'll smoke the 1650. 1650 Super is a very different graphics card. In fact, they completely redesigned that card, just so you know. The 1650, they actually completely redesigned because it was such a bad card, and I wouldn't recommend it. We are buying a Cooler Master box for $123. Now look, this is a cool case, man. Don't get me wrong, I can see why you want this case, but this is not a budget PC case. This is not a budget build case. Absolutely. Unless you want to massively sacrifice performance, you should not be spending $123, $125 on your PC case at all. And I can see actually we should be even more over budget, but PC Part Picker is not pulling any price for the power supply that you put in. If we threw another $50 in there, you're almost $200 over budget here. And we have really crash tier levels of performance. I think we can massively improve this. So buckle your seatbelt, let's go. All right, I called this the Actually Plays Games at 1080p build. And how did we do this? For $1,009, so I'm $9 over budget, we are gonna put together an absolute powerhouse. And we're building this around a graphics card, and that is the Radeon RX 6600. You can pick these up. In fact, right now, this is not even the cheapest one. Some of the cards are not actually in PC Part Picker, but you can pick up on Newegg right now. They got the Sapphire one for like $439. Pick up a RX 6600. It really doesn't matter which card you get. Just don't get the BioStar one. And then we want to get, once we've we've built around that graphics card, we want to focus around getting a CPU that's not going to bottleneck us. Now, I was hoping to save some more money and get an i3-12100 for you, but they're just out of stock absolutely everywhere right now. So instead, I upgraded your CPU and we went with the i5-12400. Not a terrible compromise whatsoever. This is a phenomenal 6-core, 12-thread CPU, and this is a huge generational leap over 10th and 11th generation Intel. That's why we didn't go 10400. I think this is going to get you not just one graphics card generation, but probably two. They are also having problems selling out. They recently came into Best Buy for $175 and they sold out within milliseconds. So $200 is about the going rate. If you want to consider like doing video editing in the future, consider spending about $10 more for the i5-12400, which has an integrated GPU on it. But if you're just gaming, 12400F all the way. For the motherboard, I'm still not crazy happy with the motherboards that are out right now, the B660 motherboards. I think they're generally a little too expensive for the features that you're getting vis-a-vis the Ryzen like B550 motherboards. And my favorite board still is the Gigabyte B660M DS3H. Now, there is a cheaper version of this that doesn't have Wi-Fi for $120, but you had Wi-Fi on the other board, so I'm just assuming that you're gonna need Wi-Fi, and I grabbed you this board for $140. Really good pickup. Then we went with an incredibly cheap and far cheaper than the kit you had, Silicon Power 16 gigabytes, 2x8 gigabytes, DDR4 3200 CL16. About $50 to $60 is what you're looking to spend on 16 gigabytes of 3200 CL16 if you're in the US right now. You don't want to spend any more than that. You can start picking up ARGB kits or RGB kits for about $15 over this price. But let's keep this simple because we want to hit your price point. I went with a significantly cheaper drive, 500 gigabytes, just like you had, but this is a Silicon Power P34 A60s. It's basically the A60. And it's a phenomenal drive. It doesn't have DRAM, but it does have a really good host memory buffer process on it. This is a great drive for budget PC builds, and 500 gigabytes, if you can fit in a terabyte, that's great, but then you're looking at spending another $40 or $50. I just don't see that in your budget right now. And then finally for the case, I just went with the Enermax Marble Shell. This is on sale right now over at Newegg for about $55. Cases are tough right now. They're tough because they're big voids, basically empty voids that need to be shipped across the ocean. But this is a great case. It comes with ARGB fans. It looks phenomenal. Decent enough airflow, especially for a low heat load like this. $54. Then for the power supply, we just went with the Cooler Master Masterwatt 550. This is about all the power you need right now. It's a bronze rated unit. It's C tier on the PSU Cultist list, which is absolutely fine for a build of this level. Remember, C tier or better for most builds, especially budget. And as you go up in terms of the power draw on the components, then I would think about jumping up to the B tier and the A tier. But at the price point we're at right now, C is all we need. So for $1,010, we're going to get you a computer that will actually absolutely smoke games at 1080p right now and give you upgradability into the future. So I hope you feel like your build is boosted. We've got Joshua. This is their first ever build computer that isn't a pre-built. All right, awesome. They want something as high-end as possible. They're planning to use it for video editing, and they want to get into freelancing video editing once they get much better. They plan to also use it for high FPS gaming and recording, and they want to stream. Of course, you want to do everything, right? Their budget's around $2,000. All the parts are already ordered, but they have returns and refunds possible for every single one, so we can just go ahead and do what we want to do. Let's see what you got. Okay, I see here that we're probably already over budget, and it's because we're going with DDR5 memory. No. Let's take a step back here. You're already at $2,038, and you don't have any memory prices in here, and you want to go DDR5, and you only want to go 16 gigabytes of DDR5 for video editing. So I think we've got a lot of confusion here about what's good right now. I'm glad you saved all your receipts because you're going to need them. We're going to start sending some stuff back. Let's take a walk through the build real quick. So you're starting off with the i7-12700K. This is fine, great CPU, especially for these kinds of high-end uses. But I would recommend for $385, especially if you're just getting into it, you don't have any freelance work just yet, this might be massive overkill for what you need right now. But let's stay with there. And of course, because we've got the i7 12700K, it requires quite a bit of cooling. And yeah, I like the cooler, the MAG Corehound C360. Just make sure this comes LGA 1700 ready. I believe it does. If it doesn't, just make sure to get from MSI the proper mounting bracket for LGA 1700. Now you went with one of the motherboards that I recommended from my Z690 Best Motherboards. This is before we realized that DDR5 memory would completely sell out and be kind of a pipe dream, although it is coming back into stock. I will say that. It's definitely coming back into stock. It's still stupidly priced, but it's not insane stupid price anymore. But you went with the Gigabyte Z690 ARS Pro, which is a board I would recommend if you were going to go DDR5 with something like the 12700K or 12900K. For the memory, you went with the all the way 16 gigabyte, 2x8 gigabyte kit of DDR5 4800 memory, and this is just like stupid expensive stuff right now. Samsung 980 Pro, 1 terabyte. Honestly, I don't love this drive in our overall build right now for $150 because I feel like you've only got 1 terabyte of space. When you get into video editing, the number one thing you need is you need lots of memory and you need lots of storage space. Lots of storage space. You will be surprised how quickly a 1 terabyte drive fills up with stuff and you've got to archive it off to other things. Looks like you went ahead and got the RTX 3060 Ti for about $794. I don't mind that as much. I'm not going to force you to get an AMD card, and I don't mind overspending a little bit on this particular graphics card because it is a pretty decent performer when it comes to video encoding. I am questioning our case here. I know it's on a super sale, $120 at Newegg right now. This case normally goes for $164, but it's a Corsair 5000D. I don't think we need this case. I think I'd look at the Corsair 4000D. This is a super premium case, and I just think that we're kind of scratching our overall budget, and I want to get us more performance. And then you're getting actually a great deal on this power supply, 750 watt RMX, great unit overall, fully modular. Right now, Newegg's just got it on super sale. Overall for $2,000, I think we can do a lot better. Let's see what we can do. So I called this the way more performance gaming and editing PC. Let's see what we've got here. I actually did this for $1,991. I'm going to get you a lot more memory. I'm going to get you a lot more storage. So let's focus in here. I don't think you need the 12700K. Harder to cool. It just basically raises the bar on everything else that you need, and it costs more. I think you can go with the i5 12600K. Listen, this is a 10-core processor. It's got 6 performance cores. It's got 4 E-cores in it. This is going to be an amazing CPU for video editing. Now, just note, you want to get the K. You do not want to get the KF if you're primarily video editing. I saw that you like this MSI Mag Core Liquid C360. Cut it down to the 280. I think this is probably fine. Probably could even go for the 240 if you want to save a little bit of money. But it actually, right now, the 280 is on sale at the same price as the 240. So I figured, why not go with the 280 then? Just makes a lot of sense. It looks like a really cool cooler, LOL. For the motherboard, I went ahead and just dropped this all the way down to the Gigabyte Z690 Gaming X DDR4 motherboard. Now this has premium audio, a premium audio codec here. So if you're going to plug in like high impedance headphones using an analog port on the front of the PC, this has support for that. That's the 1220 audio codec. Great VRMs on this board. You're not going to have any problem whatsoever with the 12600K. This is going to be a phenomenal motherboard for you for only $230. It's going to be $100 less than what you were going to get. For the memory, we went ahead and got a 32 gigabyte kit. We went with just a G.Skill Ripjaw 2x16. We went with 3600 CL16 memory. I do think there is enough benefit. The reason I like this kit is this kit's going to be around for a long time. And I believe these use Samsung B dies and I have not changed them. So I also think that they're dual rank. And if you want to expand in the future, you're just going to get the same exact kit and you're going to populate the other 2 memory slots. That'll give you 64 gigabytes of memory. For the drive, I went with separate Rocket 2 terabyte. It's $170. Great Gen 3 SSD. Don't need the Gen 4, I think, for you. What you really need is more storage space. So we've doubled the amount of storage space for only about $20 more than you were going to pay for that Gen 4 drive. This is a fast Gen 3 drive. I don't think you're going to miss the speed of Gen 4. Quite honestly, I think what you're going to miss is not having enough space. So that's why we went with this drive. We stuck it out with your graphics card. For the case, just because it's on super sale right now at Newegg, I stayed with the Corsair 5000D. I will tell you though, if you cannot get it at this price, Corsair 4000D much, much better buy. Your power supply was absolutely fine. For the fans, you didn't actually have any fans in your case, which is a problem. The Corsair 5000D, I think it only comes with 2 included black fans in it. So I got you some cool RGB to go with the your Mag Core Liquid. 6-pack of fans here for only $43. These are up here fans. The thing I really like is they come with this ARGB controller here, and this controller will populate, I believe, 7 fans. It controls both the speed as well as the ARGB, so it's both a fan hub and an ARGB hub. For $1,991, we got you significantly more performance. So we've doubled your storage, we've doubled your memory, we've right-sized the rest of your components. We've gotten you an amazing gaming and video editing CPU in the i5-12600K. We've downsized your cooling to the right level, and we've overall even come down about $40 on the build, getting you a massive amount of performance. So I hope you feel like your build is boosted. Thank you for joining us on this Boost My Build. Let me know down in the comments, what would you have done differently? And don't forget, give the video a like. It makes a big difference to the channel. This guy really appreciates it right here. He does. Remember to subscribe and click the bell icon. That way you get notified when we release cool content. If you want to check out even more Boost My Build, I'll put the whole playlist right here. Check out Boost My Build Season 2. It's amazing. You want to watch it. Grab some popcorn. Have a good time. And with that, we'll catch you on the next one.